ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
Welcome into the Friday edition. The Drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. You can join the program by calling the Miller Lite phone lines at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. Miller Lite, hold true, great taste. It's only 96 calories. It is the original light beer. It's been a couple of days since we've done this proper, so thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. We are a week away and some change from the first Marshall football game, and we got the time from that game, and we got the TV schedule for that game. Well, guess what? We got the rest of it today. And again, I look at it and I think this is completely different than what it was last year. It definitely is. And we're going to run down what happened in Conference USA as far as that schedule is concerned. We're going to focus on the Marshall schedule first, then we'll look at Conference USA's schedule in the next segment. Also, I've got to go back and revisit since we didn't have a show yesterday. Of course, it's known by now, East Carolina postponing the game against Marshall on September 12th. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So don't know when that game or how that game or if that game is going to be able to be rescheduled, what Marshall and East Carolina are going to be able to do. So that game, of course, was a showcase game for the Thundering Herd. So now Marshall, if no other games get scheduled and there's not a last minute, okay, hey, we've got this opponent, we're going to bring them in or we're going to go on the road, which, again, Marshall – I don't think Marshall's looking really to go on the road unless conference is requiring them to. And, of course, they have 3 conference games. So I don't think Marshall's looking for a road game unless it makes a lot of sense for the Thundering Herd. The East Carolina game made sense for the Thundering Herd because of what that game meant. There was a lot of work put into that game. So, unfortunately, that game's not going to happen as of right now. Of course, we move on to today's news. So the Thundering Herd is going to be on CBS Sports Network 4 times. Marshall's going to be on Stadium 3 times. The Rice game is going to be on either ESPN 3 or ESPN Plus. And Mike Hamrick, the release today, said that we are extremely happy with this television schedule. The opportunity to see the Thundering Herd on national television so many times this season is certain to be a treat for our fans. And granted, that's how a lot of you are going to be watching the game. Of course, I would be remiss, and of course, also, I like to make the boss happy, to remind you, I can't go without reminding you because, again, I like my job. Marshall football all season long right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930, and, of course, on 93.7 The Dog. Also, the Doc Holliday call-in show. Well, I just need to call it the Doc Holliday Show. I've got it stuck in my head because it used to be the call-in show. It's just the Doc Holliday Show now, and that's going to be a little bit different this year. It's not going to be out and about, and it's going to be with Doc and Steve Cotton, and I'm sure we're going to have some more details on what that's going to sound like here in the next few days, but that's coming up here in a few days, and of course we've got the game, but the schedule itself, we know about EKU on September 5th. That's going to be 1 o'clock, and ESPN has picked that game up. And we'll look at that schedule later. What does college football look like here in 0 week and week 1? And it looks very different. And of course, now Marshall's got the September 2nd open at this time. And then you look at September 19th, 1:30 p.m., CBS Sports Network. That's going to be Appalachian State, and that's a big game for Appalachian and Marshall. We haven't seen the Mountaineers in a little while, and I always enjoyed that matchup. It makes sense for at least the older Herd fans, and Appalachian State's really done a nice job of elevating their program. They are one of the better teams in the group of 5, if that's what you want to call them. Still, that's a game on CBS Sports Network. Now, 1:30 p.m. Awful early for you Herd fans. I mean, I know you like the evening games. Well, the schedule looks like this pretty much all the way. Now, the home game on October 3rd, because, again, there's an open date on September 26th. October 3rd, it's going to be 2 p.m., and that's the game that's going to be either on ESPN 3 or the Plus. My money's on Plus. If I was a betting man, my money would be on the Plus. ESPN3, though, that could be an option as well. I just think historically the Herd games have been on ESPN Plus because, again, I think if you are Conference USA, if you're a member institution, Marshall fans are more likely to pony up for the Plus than a majority of the membership in Conference USA. That's just me. And, of course, it gives you a reason to get the Plus. So October 3rd, the game is on the Plus at 2 p.m. I'm saying it's the Plus. It could be on ESPN3. We'll find out. Now, October 10th, 7:30 p.m. That's going to be one of the few late by this schedule standard, or evening games. October 10th, that's the game against Western Kentucky on the road, and it's going to be on Stadium. So Stadium, as we said, picking up 3 Herd games. That's the first one. And then October 17th, 6 p.m., and of course this is our time, 6 p.m., it's going to be on CBS Sports Network, and this game is going to be on, I think, a nice primetime spot for college football. 6 p.m., that's looking pretty good for me. I think that's going to be a really solid time. Okay. We have got also a change, and we'll get to that in a second, but October 24th, that's going to be the home game against FAU. That's on Stadium, and 2:30 p.m., that's probably the latest game on the home schedule. October 30th now. October 30th. This is on Stadium. October 30th. And this has been changed. This has been changed. It was a Saturday game. Now it's a Friday game. 7 p.m. CBS Sports Network. And then you got November 7th open at this time. November 14th, it's going to be 1:30 p.m., and that's going to be on CBS Sports Network. And then November 21st, 12:30 p.m., that's going to be Charlotte and Stadium. So Middle Tennessee, 1:30 p.m. on the 14th, November 21st. Charlotte, that's 12:30 p.m. So again, let's run this down. So the Herds on CBS Sports Network 4 times. 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, September 19th versus Appalachian State. 6 p.m. Saturday, October 17th at Louisiana Tech. 7 p.m. on Friday, October 30th, a date change at FIU. And 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, November 14th versus Middle Tennessee. That's the CBS Sports Network slate. Stadium 3 times. 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, October 10th at Western Kentucky. 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, October 24th versus Florida Atlantic. 12:30 p.m. on Saturday, November 21st versus Charlotte. And then, as I mentioned, I think the Rice game is going to be on the Plus, but there is an option either ESPN3 or ESPN Plus. That's going to be a 2 p.m. game. So that's the first thing. You look at these, and the evening games are on the road. So Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech, and FIU all playing evening games. And again, 2 of those 3 are on CBS Sports Network, and I'm sure television had a little bit to do with that maybe. And then you look at the rest of the schedule, and I don't know if some of this is by Marshall's design or has just happened to work this way with the television partners, because it's a cross-section of all your television partners. I mean, 1 p.m., EKU, going to be in the afternoon. 1:30 p.m. against Appalachian State, going to be in the afternoon. 2 p.m., October 3rd, going to be against Rice, afternoon. Latest game, 2:30 p.m., October 24th, against FAU. And then in November, early the better probably, November 14th, 1:30 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, as I mentioned, and November 21st, 12:30 p.m. at Stadium. Now, November 14th, 1:30 p.m. I'm going to be interested to see what game day looks like. That has been a question that was asked of me off air and privately. What's game day going to look like on November 14th? Well, we'll know when we get to game day. I think there's going to be probably some changes of how everything is going to be handled. Of course, that's a big day for Marshall football. Always going to be a big day for Marshall football. So 1:30 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, an opportunity for Marshall to be on national TV. That moves up the timetable, a little bit of all the activities that happened that morning. And I'm okay with the time change. Of course, you're on CBS Sports Network. And again, not that many Herd fans are going to be able to be in attendance. And I'm kind of curious, is this going to help in you making that decision? Okay, I'm on board. I'm gonna go ahead and put my money down, see if I can get a season ticket here, because I know there's been some rescheduling, and that's been an issue for some of you. And I know there's been some seat modifications, and I know that's going to be an issue for some of you. And I've seen it. It's all anecdotal. I've seen it on the social media. And I know some of you are good with it. Like, hey, look, I get to see the Herd. I'm happy. Some of you are like, I'm a bigger deal than you think. I was reseated. I had great seats here. Now I get crappy seats here. And that happens when you have limiting of fans and you have reseating. So I'm interested to see how this plays and how many fans are really going to go. I mean, are they going to have the max full capacity that they're allowed? And let me tell you, it's going to be, I'm pretty sure, very strict. There will be strict guidelines in place, I'm pretty sure, as far as everything we can do and not do with the social distancing. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some other things that are going to come down the line as far as who can get in, who can't. If you have signs of, look, I'm coughing all over the place, and you look really sick looking, are they going to say, look, no? I'm pretty sure temperature checks are going to be a thing. Temperature checks are pretty much a thing almost everywhere now. So that could be something for you to keep in mind as well. And again, the no tailgating is going to be a big one for a lot of Herd fans. But at the end of the day, if you have been contacted and they have got in touch with you at Marshall, you should be good. You should have some better understanding, and understand that, again, all anecdotal, that some people are maybe, look, I haven't heard from them yet. Be easy on them. Be easy on them over at the ticket office. If anything, don't beat them up. Don't beat them up, because they're trying their very best to make this happen, to accommodate you and to get you in the stadium and to put you somewhere as best they can and as fair as they can based on the system. And, of course, it's points. I can't just roll up and say, hey, I'm going to put down some cash for season tickets and put me up really close. So don't beat them up too bad. I understand it's going to be difficult for all of us to adjust to this. It's going to be new. It might change for the next game. You might see a different configuration for the next game. We might go, look, okay, that didn't work. We're going to change this, or something worked and we're going to double down on that. But again, it's going to be a different game day atmosphere. And please, whatever you do, have some patience. Keep it in mind, because we want this. If we want this to work. We want everything to go well. So don't give them any guff at the gate. If they ask me to check my bags, I'm going to pack light. I'm probably going to take I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm taking. I usually take a laptop and everything. You might not see too many tweets from me. I don't know. It might just be me and my phone. There won't be any tailgate party show this year for me. I'll be here at the station getting you set for your game day. And so, whatever you do, pack light. Don't give them any grief. Be as understanding as possible. Even with the ticket office, be understanding as possible, because there are some Herd fans right now not getting to go. There'll be some Herd fans that don't get to go, and there'll be some that don't want to go, but there will be a lot who wanted to go and can't. So that's where the TV schedule comes into play. But again, I want to remind you, and I will be reminding you heavily, even though these games are on TV, My advice to you, and also I want to make sure that Mr. Kurtner, my boss, is happy with me, turn the TV audio down and turn the radio game broadcast up. You can listen right here on ESPN 94.1, or you can listen to on 93.7 The Dog, whatever you do. Turn the radio audio on and turn the TV audio off, and that way you can do both. And if you complain to me that, it doesn't sync up, I will send you a link where you can buy a Sports Sync radio, and you can sync up the audio to both, and it will be the best of both worlds. All right, we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back. We'll take your comments on Twitter. Twitter is a great place to find me today, at Paul Swann. That will be a great place. But we're going to look at what happened with the rest of the Conference USA schedule. We're going to run down what college football looks like the weekend, the week 0 to Labor Day and beyond. Okay, well, we can't go beyond, but we can get you up to September 7th. We'll take a look at actually what college football looks like as we finally have college football. That's all still to come here on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Don't worry. Paul Swann has the wheel on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Welcome back to today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 for Friday, August 28th. Can you believe it? We've gotten past August, and we are now on the cusp of September. And, of course, we still have a couple more days to go in August, and our journey through 2020 continues. And we've got football finally coming back. And if all goes well, we'll have football for a few months. If not, well, we've got that to talk about too. But Conference USA releasing the entire schedule today, not just Marshall, but the entire schedule. And CBS Sports Network's got a lot of herd games. But CBS Sports Network has a lot of games as well. And Stadium's got a nice share. ESPN Networks, that can mean anything, but the ESPN Networks could be any game on any ESPN platform. And Marshall, of course, has the game with Eastern Kentucky on ESPN. ESPN Networks, a handful is not even the way to describe this. I think a good chunk of Conference USA games are going to be on some ESPN platform. It's just not going to be, if it could be ESPN3, it could be ESPN Plus, it could be ESPN. Who knows? The way this pandemic is going, we could see. But I'm pretty sure that if there was a Marshall game available and it looked good, CBS and Stadium grabbed their share first. And, CBS Sports Network with the Conference USA Championship. Thursday, the 3rd, South Alabama and Southern Miss. You've got Middle Tennessee and Army on the 5th. We mentioned Marshall Appalachian State on the 19th. SMU and North Texas is going to be on the 19th. Memphis at UTSA is going to be on the 25th. South Florida at Florida Atlantic on the 26th. And then we get into October with Army at UTSA. Of course, Army's going to be on CBS Sports Network. As I mentioned, Marshall and La Tech. Then you've got UL Lafayette, UAB. I mentioned the Marshall FIU game. North Texas, UTEP's going to be there. And Southern Miss is going to be there a lot. Western Kentucky is going to be there a couple of times at least, because Southern Miss and Western Kentucky is one of those games. FAU, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Charlotte. So some good games on CBS Sports Network. And then you go down to Stadium, which this is Stadium proper, not Stadium Facebook, Stadium proper, which while I would rather be on CBS Sports Network, Stadium is okay. You've got 3 matchups on Stadium. As I mentioned, the Western Kentucky game, the FAU game, the Charlotte game, but there are lots of to be determined. Stadium's got Tulane at Southern Miss, Southern Miss at North Texas, FAU at Southern Miss, UTSA at UAB, North Texas, Middle Tennessee's there, UAB, Western Kentucky, UTSA, lots of games. Everybody's got some love on Stadium. But then you see the bulk of this. I think this is probably what we want to talk about more. There are 3 guaranteed games that I'm aware of on ESPN3. That's Central Arkansas at UAB, Houston Baptist at North Texas, and then Stephen F. Austin is going to be at UTEP. So those games are going to be ESPN3, and that's pretty easy. Probably makes sense. And then the ESPN networks, this means it could go anywhere. Depending on what's available, what the matchup looks like, ESPN3, ESPN Plus maybe, and you have Troy at Middle Tennessee is going to be on one of those networks, Louisiana Tech and Southern Miss. Of course, Abilene Christian at UTEP makes sense. Stephen F. Austin at UTSA makes sense. Liberty at Western Kentucky, I don't know. I'd probably put that on Plus, ESPN Plus, just because I would think you could probably drive some traffic to Plus. Georgia State at Charlotte's going to be one of those games. Houston Baptist at La Tech. Charlotte at FAU is going to be one of those ESPN network games. Of course, Rice Marshall, as we mentioned. Again, I'm thinking that's Plus. Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee is going to be one of those games. Middle Tennessee at FIU. UTEP at Louisiana Tech is going to be one of those games. You've got Charlotte at North Texas on that list. UAB at Rice is going to be on that list. And we go down the list. I mean, several games there. Just, it's 2 pages. It's a 3-page release, and I'm at the middle and bottom of page 2, and then we go into page 3. And you see UTSA, UAB, UTEP, a lot of those games are there on the ESPN networks. And, of course, again, I would rather be on an ESPN network than I would Stadium just because I think the reach is better. If it's ESPN3, it's easier to get a hold of than Stadium for most. If it's on ESPN Plus, I know that's going to be a point of contention for some. And I have to remind you one more time, again, just because we're a radio company here and we carry the games, that all these games that the Herd will be playing in will be available right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 and 93.7 The Dog. Again, radio games here, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. We go on the air 3 hours before kickoff. So there's another reason why. And again, if you're going to the game, take your radio. If you're not going to the game and you're going to be trying to skirt the regulations and gather outside, listening to the game on the radio would be great for you as well. Again, I'm not advocating skirting the rules, but that's where we're at. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to get your phone calls in, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. We're here on the Friday edition. That means we try to have a little fun with you here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
West Virginia Metro News. I'm Jake Flatley. Governor Jim Justice is issuing a state of preparedness through Sunday evening as the state is experiencing showers this afternoon and will remain that way through the weekend with the remnants of Hurricane Laura. Parts of the state have dealt with flooding this week, including Nicholas County. Sean Wolford, the Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management for that county, says northern Nicholas was hit Thursday night with a lot of rain.
Pretty much the northern portion of the county had anywhere from 3, I think, up to almost 5 inches from some local reports, citizen reports we've got. So quite a substantial amount of rain hit in a very short period.
There are also reports of high water in parts of Clay, Braxton, and Webster counties. Most of the southern portion of the state expecting heavy showers to continue through the weekend. An inmate at the South Central Regional Jail is dead due to complications of COVID-19, while at an outside hospital. The West Virginia Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation said the 40-year-old Wood County man was being held on a federal charge. Governor Jim Justice said the man had underlying conditions.
There were several other health complications involved.
It's the first death related to COVID-19 for an inmate in the state. 3 city workers in Nitro have tested positive for COVID-19. Mayor Dave Casebold confirming the news to Metro News this afternoon. The City Hall remains closed. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
The West Virginia University football team is entering a season like no other in school history. But as always, Metro News will provide the most comprehensive, the most informative, and the most provocative game day coverage anywhere. Hoppy Kercheval, Brad Howe, Kyle Wiggs, Greg Hunter, Jeff Jenkins, Fred Persinger, Joe Braccato, Dave Weekley, former Mountaineer quarterback Rasheed Marshall, and former WVU coach Steve Dunlap return for another season behind the microphones. Game day coverage begins Saturday, September 12th on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
During the recent pandemic, West Virginia's parents got to see how special our state teachers are.
I have been so proud. Teachers at my school have come together to see the sense of teamwork, desire to tackle what was really a very kind of scary and tough challenge. And to be part of that teamwork was a really heartwarming moment in my career.
West Virginia education employees, working to make our schools great. Brought to you by the West Virginia Education Association.
Things are back to normal this evening on the campus of West Virginia Wesleyan College in Buchanan. School officials said a disgruntled female current student had a physical exchange with a staff member in the morning hours, and due to the nature of the confrontation, the college immediately went into a precautionary lockdown mode. The State Fair of West Virginia is calling off another event. The Fall Giant Flea Market and Antique Show's off. It was scheduled for September 18th to the 20th. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jake Flatley.
Get in the game with EXP from Armstrong. Only EXP lets you set a one pass for your favorite team or league and record every game. EXP brings live, recorded, and streaming TV together, making it easy to find the shows you're looking for. And with the free EXP app, you can keep up on your favorite content while at home or on a road trip. EXP is the all-in-one entertainment answer. Visit ArmstrongEXP.com to get the power of EXP in your home today.
Wrangler jeans are dependable, comfortable, and look good. And you can find your next pair of Wranglers for the lowest prices every day at Rural King. Wrangler men's performance jeans start at just $29.99. Need some Wrangler jeans for boys? Well, they start at just $19.99. And ladies, check out the complete selection, including plus sizes, starting at just $29.99. For the complete Wrangler selection, visit your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Our phone lines this hour brought to you by Miller Lite at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. Miller Lite, hold true, great taste. It's only 96 calories, and it is the original light beer. So college football kicking off Saturday, August 29th. The Guardian Credit Union FCS kickoff, 9 p.m. on Saturday. Austin Peay versus Central Arkansas. And Herd could have been playing ECU week 0. We'd be talking about that game right now, but instead we're gearing up for EKU, which is next Saturday. College football is going to look a lot different. And I know the Big Ten and the Pac-12, they're kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what they're going to do because, again, they decided as leagues to not have fall football, and there are people who are suing, actually, because, well, they believe it's their right to have Big Ten fall football, and some of the students, and yeah, I don't know where to go with that one, but it's going to be interesting to see if we can pull off a season, and we're going to find out at least if Marshall can get things started on September 5th. But college football in earnest begins on Thursday, September 3rd at 8 p.m. You'll have Central Arkansas taking on UAB. Conference USA leading the way here. Also, on Thursday, September 3rd, you'll have Southern Alabama and Southern Miss leading the way. Conference USA. And then the Herd. And Saturday, September 5th, if you're just looking to be in that cadence, that rhythm of, I'm going to watch college football on Saturday because it's America. EKU and Marshall kicking things off at 1 p.m. You've got that. And then it starts to go down like this. Middle Tennessee at Army. Middle Tennessee and Army, CBS Sports Network. And then SMU at Texas State, that's going to be at 4:30 p.m. on the 5th on ESPN. Louisiana and Monroe at Troy on September 5th at 7 p.m., and that's going to be an ESPN3 game, so ESPN using all the platforms. 7:30 p.m. on September 5th, it'll be Houston Baptist at North Texas. Conference USA, still there on ESPN3. September 5th, it'll be Arkansas State at Memphis on ESPN. And also on September 5th, 9 p.m., it'll be Stephen F. Austin at UTEP on ESPN3. And then on Monday, September 7th, 8 p.m., BYU at Navy, going to be on ESPN. So ESPN is making the most of this, and that's why you see the Herd on TV at 1 p.m. Marshall's sort of kicking it all off. Marshall's kicking off all the big coverage on game day on September 5th. I mean, that's huge. I'm surprised this thing didn't get scheduled for noon, but 1 p.m. kicking off all the game day coverage for you. No, game day is not coming to Huntington, but again, all the game day action begins with the Herd. I mean, if you're going to try to pull this thing off and you're limiting your fans, this is the best thing you could possibly have happen for you. And of course, we're going to have the game for you right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 as well. And I hope if you're going to the game, I hope you can take your radio. I really do. I hope you can take your radio and listen in with us, and we would appreciate that. And if you can't go to the game, you're going to be following along, take your radio wherever you can. And if you don't have a radio right now, go to Amazon.com and get you one. They sell them on Amazon.com. Go get you one right now. Have it delivered. Prime will get it to you within 2 days if you do it right now. And, of course, you can listen along for free. None of this paying for plus or no. You can listen to the game for free. So go get your. I'll wait. Go get your radio. Actually, honestly, if you're ever going to get a radio for sports, you probably want to get one of the Sports Sync radios. And I've talked about these before, and I need one myself. Actually, I'm probably going to see if I can get one. Too bad I can't invoice out the company, but we're going to try that. And what this does is if you buy this thing, you can sync the radio broadcast up with the TV. You go to Sport Sync Radio. It's sportsncradio.com. That's the one I'm talking about here. See how much this thing costs here. You know, I might price myself out of this thing. They have a new one. It's the new Sports Sync Radio SR404. Hit the order now button. Let's see what it costs. Hey, it's only it's out of stock too. It's $69.95 and it's out of stock. No, I needed this. I completely needed this. Okay. Well, maybe in time for basketball. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Go get your radio on ESPN, or Amazon. You can listen to us. You can watch the game. It works both ways. Help us out here. Again, I have to promote the radio broadcast because, again, that's how we make our money. That's how we stay on the air. So, hey, support radio. I would appreciate it. We're going to wrap it up when we continue with today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now, back to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Tonight's still a quiet night when it comes to actual ball games with the NBA and the NHL and other sports entities. It's taking a pause. The NHL postponing their games again today. The NBA deciding that, the franchises, really the players. It's not the franchise. It's not the league. It's the players deciding that they will resume. And I think that's the best thing for the NBA right now, with the word that the boycotts were happening the other day, and it sort of just cascaded to really, you're wondering, okay, what's going to happen? And then you see some other teams start to follow suit And the NHL, I think, was a sort of a day behind on this. And, maybe it was okay that they played their games on Wednesday and then they postponed yesterday and they postponed again today. But the NBA and the National Basketball Players Association releasing a joint statement today. They made the announcement that the playoffs would resume Saturday and that the league and its players are going to work together on several initiatives to promote voting access, combat social injustice and racial inequality, and advocate for police reform. Now, I don't know where you stand on this, and that's really not the point of this, but I think if you're going to have a league boycott, you better have something behind it, not just, hey, we're mad. And even then, that's okay. Hey, we're mad. And I understand why the membership of the NBA, the players, I understand why they're mad, and I completely get it. But if they want to try to do something that has some context and meaning, I think what they're doing right now has some substance to it. The weekend schedule is going to be a little bit different. Same with the NHL. The NHL back tomorrow. We'll have Tampa Bay at noon. Tampa Bay is in action. They've reworked the schedule because, again, postponing some games. So we've got games coming up tomorrow. We go on the air right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 with today we're supposed to have Lightning and Bruins and Avalanche and Stars. And tomorrow it's going to be Lightning and Bruins. That's going to be our noon game. That's the game we're picking up. And then the Flyers and the Islanders, that'll be 7 o'clock on NBC Sports Network. And then Vegas and Vancouver, that's going to be at 9:45. And that's all tomorrow. Because, again, needing to adjust the schedule just a little bit to basically try to get it all in. And tonight we've got the Bucks and Magic. That's postponed. The Rocket and Thunder postponed. Lakers and Trailblazers, again, that game postponed as well. Saturday it picks back up with the Magic and the Bucks at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. Thunder and Rockets are going to be 6:30 p.m. Trailblazers and Lakers, that is set for 9 p.m. I do not have an updated NBA schedule for you as far as our radio coverage with ESPN Radio. As soon as we get that, I'll post that to our social media channels as well so you can follow along. But, here's a statement. The league, I have not, and granted, there are some who have been around longer than I have not ever seen a time where you just have a stoppage of play, and it's not because of building issue or earthquake or some other natural catastrophe, weather, nothing, like that has ever happened outside of those type of events. And so you have the NBA and the NHL. And honestly, the NBA has done a lot better job as far as listening to their players. I think the NFL is trying to catch up. I know there was a meeting today with ownership with the Bengals. The players requested it. The players asked to speak to ownership management. They wanted to talk, and management said, "All right, here we are. Let's hear what you got to say. We want to know what we can do." And I thought that was a great step from the Cincinnati Bengals, and hopefully that's conversations being held other places as well. Because again, these are people who we look to for entertainment for several hours, but they don't want to be looked at as just, hey, I'm tuning in, I'm going to look at you for my pleasure, and then you go about your day, and I'm sorry if it's crappy, and we treat you as lesser people, but you're here for my entertainment. No, they don't want that. They want to be seen as equal. Everybody wants to be seen as equal, and that's where we're at right now with these boycotts and these protests and these athletes. And I was listening to excerpts of one of the NBC podcasts that's sprung lately, And it was basically the few minority players that are in the National Hockey League are like, where do I, here, I'm in Canada. I'm here in the city. Where do I go to get my hair cut? Where can I go as an African American? Where can I go get my hair cut? And it's little things like that you don't think of. I can go anywhere and get my hair cut. But you try to figure that out. And then, you got some of the athletes coming out and just basically saying that, look, we're frightened. Even as superstars, we're frightened because we can't walk down the street. We can't go anywhere without people looking at us or people maybe being guarded towards us as if we are going to do something, or we are looking over our shoulder because we never know if we're going to be in an encounter that is going to go wrong. And those are completely valid let's underline that, valid reasons why this is all going on. So I kind of felt like we needed to address it today again because it impacts what we do. We cover sports. We love sports. That's why we're all here. We like sports. You might not like how I like sports. I might not like how you like sports. We might all disagree or agree on the same thing. Of course, being a fan of a certain team, we all have opinions, and everybody's opinion, unless it agrees with yours, is wrong, and vice versa. But I think we can all come together on this one and say, look, there's some valid concerns here. The players are finally understanding that they have a voice because if the players don't play, what do we got? I'm surprised we haven't seen college maybe assert itself more as far as the players. Maybe that's coming. I don't know. With the NBA, though, they're going to be back on television. They're going to have a platform. They're going to have an opportunity to be seen, to talk about these things, to hopefully explain, what it is they're looking to achieve, hoping things can be better. And I'm glad that the National Hockey League has sort of finally got in on this because, let's be honest, the Hockey League is not immune to this. The NFL maybe needs to work on this a little bit better. Baseball is just a wreck right now. And I don't mean with this. I just mean period. Baseball's just a wreck right now. And everybody's got a double header on the schedule because all these games are getting postponed or scheduled differently or canceled or rearranged. And we had a doubleheader yesterday, and I anticipate more games being postponed and rescheduled because, again, you're not in a sort of a bubble. You're hoping it works out. And that's where we're at with baseball right now. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this edition of the show. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Next week, we're going to get into game day mode. I'm looking forward to that with you, and I hope you're excited. We got Herd football. If you're going to be able to watch it, great. If you're not going to be able to watch it at the stadium, and we got you covered. We'll have the game for you. Back on Monday, doing it all over again. And we'll have high school football to get into as well in West Virginia, and that's going to be a big deal for a lot of us. So, big week ahead. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us. We're finally there. We're at that point now. We have a game to talk about. That's coming up next week. Thanks for tuning in here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.